Hi guys, it's Amy and you have found Amy Loves Crochet. Thank you so much for your time. I sincerely appreciate it when you click on my videos. Well, I've got to ship off my shawl for the Shawl Swap 2026, but before I do that, I got to show it to you. So that's the main theme for today's video. When I do these shawl shares, it's a little bit sort of interesting for me. This is the second one I've been involved with. You have your own timeline of what you want to do to put up videos for your channel. And then there's sort of the timeline that we're agreeing to follow, you know, for the shawl swap, shawl share. I keep calling it shawl share swap, whatever. And so I've got to get the video recorded because I've got to get it shipped off, but it's not going to post until later. And so I've got to continue to think about my timeline and what have I got to show you, what can I record for this week, blah blah blah. So if I feel a little bit, you know, scatterbrained, that's normal for me, right? So before I jump into the shawl share, I wanted to go ahead and let you know what I've been working on this week. Today is actually Easter Sunday, and if you didn't know, we were just on vacation, and so you got to go back and check out that video if you haven't seen that already. But this video, I'm going to show you what I've been working on just a little bit in the background. You did already see this item, but it was not put together yet when you saw it. It was just in pieces. And I went ahead and tackled putting my teddy bear all together. Now I still don't have eyes for him, and that's normal for me, but the arms were separate. I had to sew those on, and the legs and the ears and then the muzzle. And so when you saw me last, all these pieces were separate. Even the head and the body were not connected yet. So I went ahead and after I finished my shawl that I'm about to show you, while it was blocking, I went ahead and finished this up. So he still needs eyes, and I'm not 100% thrilled with how the ears came, how the ears got sewed on. Like right here, I feel like that should have one more stitch in there. But this yarn was horribly not splitting, but fraying. Like it looked like a chocolate bar exploded on my shirt. And when I was trying to sew through the stitches, you know, a lot of times they got caught up, and then all the color went away, and all I had was like a string of the inside yarn. So the ears were not perfect, but I think they did okay. And my arms and legs, I think one of my feet got a little bit twisted because there is a bit of a you know, you do a bit of a shape, so the foot looks more like a foot than just a stump. But and then I can't remember whether you were supposed to do these flat, but I know like I stuffed what wasn't supposed to be stuffed. So the feet are sewn, I mean the legs, whatever these are sewn in to each stitch around, but the arms, I stuffed them and then flattened it to just sew to the 4 stitches. That's so much easier than going all the way around. So yes, he's done. Yes, he's awesome and so soft. Like I can't stop touching him. He's made from similar yarn to my other big faceless teddy bear. So I got a couple of faceless guys here. I got to put some eyeballs on them. Okay. The other item that has been kind of a side project for me in between other things, like lately I haven't had a whole lot of time to do other things because I was working on the shawl. Again, I'll get to that in a minute, but in the meantime, see, some of that chocolate spray is all over this blanket too. I was working with some yellows and blues to make a C2C baby blanket, and these are all by Sweet Delight by Baby Bee. It is a 3 lightweight yarn, 100% acrylic, I believe. Nope, 60% acrylic and 40% polyamide. So that's why it's so soft. It's a really, 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 really soft yarn. So I've got 5 different colors that I picked up either on a clearance or at least on the 30% off week. So I didn't pay full price for any of these. And I'm just kind of alternating how many rows in between. So I've got the 2 yellows, and then I've got 3 different blues that I'm using. So just something to keep me moving, keep me crocheting while maybe my brain has to shut down from other projects like this shawl. Man. Okay, so the other thing that I had been working on, if you remember, I had started a sweater or a pullover. Like I was not sure what my product was going to be. I was just making squares with this yarn. The colors are Rust Bucket, and this middle section is called Starting Over. And it is Soliloquy yarn by Leading Men Fiber Arts. So there's the front, and then here is the back. And so that's 100% superwash blue face Leicester, which was really exciting for me to work with this yarn. Now the hanks were bigger than normal. They're 150 grams. So I've got 657 yards to work with. Having said that, so what had happened was, if you remember, I made up a whole bunch of the squares in the Starting Point colorway. And when I was buying the yarn, the guys, Steve and Andy, they were telling me about the sweater that Steve made that was in this yarn. And so he made a whole sweater for a full-size man. So I'm like, okay, I can make some sort of a sweater or pullover or something, cardigan, whatever, out of this yarn as well. So if you can see in the Starting Point, like just here, that Rust Bucket, I had them dye a skein of the Soliloquy yarn and mail it to me specifically for me to match this yarn. Like, it was a big deal. And I really, really, really wanted this sweater to work out. Well, as I started putting the squares together, I was not liking how it was working out. And so I went back and forth, kicked back around, back and forth, kicked around the idea to frog out the way I was putting the squares together and reconfigure them. So that is finally what I decided to do. Now, some of the squares, as I was, I used a sewing seam ripper, whatever it's called, and I would do like one little knot area and be able to go and pull the square off of the rest of the body of the item. Some of the squares I made just like this, like I already made the border to go around the Starting Point colorway. Some of them I did a join as you go. So some of them came off very, very easily. This one was like almost perfect, so I just left it like that because I didn't want to take it apart. The rest of them were a little bit shredded when I got to that point of pulling them apart. So like this one, I went a little bit too far in pulling that seam ripper or whatever. So I'll have to fix 3 or 4 squares. Whoops. Just to get back to, this is just the inner square size. So it will still need then the outer border. So I'm still not back to the point of knowing what I'm going to make because I'm not quite sure how much I've got, how this is all going to work out. Now, I think I have probably about 1/3 of the skein left, and just stacks and stacks and stacks of these squares. So we'll see what happens, how that gets all put back together. Here is the aftermath. Unfortunately, it looks like, I wish I could use this like for doll hair or something at least. It was so much, but there's a lot of it that's just little teeny tiny pieces, Some of it's almost a full round. So it was a little bit depressing, to not be able to reuse that length of yarn. But as we know, like snippets or end pieces that you cut off, we can always use that for filler. So that might go in a stuffed animal or something later on. But that's the wreckage. That's the aftermath. So that is something else that I have been working on kind of when I needed to take a break from the shawl. I keep talking the shawl. Before I jump into that, I did want to just take another look at the calendar and the map and see what's coming up. Midwest Fiber Fest is this month in just a few weeks. I'm so excited. Less than 20 days. We got a less than 20-day countdown. Woo, 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 woo. And I don't have to drive that far. It's like right here in town. Well, not here in town, but right in St. Louis. So I don't have a 2-hour road trip ahead of me for that. Like I will in July. I'm going to the Fiber U in Lebanon again. I went to that by myself. I think both of these next ones I went to by myself. The other one is Lake Area Fiber Arts Festival in Camdenton in October. So not a whole lot on the calendar this year as far as the fiber events. Just those 3 left on this year's calendar. So if anything is coming up in your area, let us know, what you're excited to go see a fiber event all about this. Okay, let's jump into the shawl. So this year's shawl, so I was very, very excited to be invited to do the shawl swap again this year. And if you've ever heard the talk about, I can't remember, we were watching a show of some, I think it was Big Bang Theory, and they want you, they've offered you to throw out the starting pitch of a baseball game. Nobody cares if you don't do it. And if you do it and you mess up, you're going to be a laughingstock. So that's kind of where I was with the shawl swap. I knew I had my vacation coming up. I knew that this year's shawl swap, I was going to really, I wanted to do a different pattern. If you remember last year's shawl swap, I made 2 shawls because I wasn't sure what she wanted on her. You know, we do a spreadsheet to say what shape or colors or whatever we wanted. And I second guessed myself on reading her wants. And so I made a second shawl. And so this year's shawl swap, I wanted to be very intentional with both my yarn that I was buying, and I paid for a pattern, which, if you know me, you know, it's not just that I'm a cheapskate, but I like to be responsible with my money. I don't have a whole lot of it laying around. And if I can get free patterns, you know, I appreciate that from a designer or, you know, YouTube tutorial or whatever. And so I like to utilize free patterns when I can. Again, this being a special event or whatever, I really wanted to buy a pattern and make it something special. So I was very intentional with my yarn purchase and very intentional with my pattern purchase. So my person who I was going to make a shawl for is Ellen of Ellen's Crochet. And the colors that she put on her want list or whatever was sage, purple, and teal. So I don't know if you remember, I made a purchase from Lindy Hobby over in Denmark. So it was very, you know, it was an exciting yarn purchase, and exciting that I purchased a pattern. And so before I show you which yarn I did use, all right, so the colors that I chose to select for my shawl share, I always get all tongue-tied on that. My person said that she liked sage, teal, and purples. So in looking at what I picked up, I'll show you this one first. This one caught my eye. You saw that I had purchased some others, other colorways in this. This is Lily Cake, and it's 100% cotton. She also put that she wanted natural fibers, so I went with all cotton items. It's got that great easy start here, and it starts in this beautiful sort of cream, very, very light creamish whitish color, and then it goes out to gradient purple throughout. So this one, again, these are color LHCC12, 100% cotton, and there's 875 yards in here. The other two are sheepsheesh, and this one is called Teal Tempest. So I thought that was just gorgeous. Even, you know, all the way down to the center, you've got like some heathered with the white in the color, and then it goes out to different shades of teal throughout. So I thought that was really, really pretty. And then the sage that she chose, I picked this one up. It's called Lettuce Party. And so I thought that was funny. One of her comments that she put was fun, not fancy. So in everything that I was looking at, I was trying to be, you know, fun or silly and not fancy. And so I thought a color called Lettuce Party was very silly. So look how gorgeous it starts again in that kind of white in the center there, and then comes out to different colors of green. The outside is kind of dark, kind of matted a little bit. Like I might want to stop at this green, because this green gets a little bit, it changes it out a little bit. Well, we'll see how it goes. And again, this one is, oh, this was the one that doesn't have the weight on there. I think it was 226 grams and like 1,000 yards or something like that. So those two in the sheepshees that are just so pretty, or this one in the Lily Cake, I can't decide yet. I'll be looking at that next to choose what pattern, because the pattern, I've selected some different patterns. I've got them kind of bookmarked in my brain of what pattern I want to do for her shawl. So I'll be deciding on which colorway to use for which pattern. So if you know Ellen's channel at all, you will have seen recently that she made a beautiful sweater. And the colorway is almost the same as what the color of the shawl that I made. So in hindsight, that's where I'm like, I wish I had maybe gone with a purple to give her something different than what she just made herself. So the shawl pattern is called the Flora Lanterna Shawl by the Crochet Fix. I got it off of Ravelry. It was $5. And the shawl measures 84 by 38. Now, I used a 5.5 millimeter hook, and no, did I say 5.5? I meant I used a 4.5 millimeter hook, but I really wished in hindsight that I used a 4 millimeter hook. I sort of struggle with wanting to make something lacy, but then realizing that the stitches themselves are kind of too big. So here, so I was really kicking myself. Okay, let me back up a little bit before I show you. This is, I think it's a 6-row repeat once you get the base of it going. And I'm not going to say that it was difficult. None of the stitches are difficult. They are chains, single, half, and doubles. You're not doing anything out of the ordinary. But sometimes you use a 1 chain, sometimes you use 2 chains, sometimes you use 4 chains, and I was mixing that up. I spent valuable time sitting quietly working on this while hubby was asleep or doing something different, just to find out that I had missed a stitch in the row previous, so I had a whole bunch of frogging to do. And that was very discouraging for me. So this is one of those where I was so pleased to be challenged, but man, was this a challenge for myself just to kind of keep on track. So I want to move her in here, but I don't think there's enough room, so give me a second here. Let's sit a little bit sideways like this. Ta-da! So the teal starts out at the very top of the cake, or the inside of the cake, to be this really, really light colored teal. And then all the way down to the outside of the row is a little bit dark. So you can see here how sort of dark teal that is compared to what we started with up here. So yeah, so anytime you're working with fillet work, it's very specific on where your stitches are going to be, how your holes, you know, you're creating those gaps with your chain stitches and stuff. And therein lies my challenge. When you make a mistake, like coming along here and I only did 1 chain and then kept going, this thing is all, so you can totally see this isn't one of those where you can allow for a mistake to stay in the project. So there might be a place here or there where a chain 1 is extra or missing. And Ellen, I hope you'll never be able to see where those spots are, but that is the pattern. Isn't it beautiful? I absolutely love it. When I was going along with it, I thought, oh, this is not turning out. It's just, you're working on it and it's just like in a pile on your lap there, and you're not able to see the beauty of it until you block it. When I washed it and blocked it, oh my goodness, so pretty. So Ellen, thank you for being, participating in the shawl swap this year. I hope you enjoy the shawl that I made for you. And Mary, I can't wait to open mine that you sent to me. I'll do that in a different video. Again, because of our timing of when we're going to open and post and all that good stuff. So I'll share that video with you next week. Alrighty guys, here's what it looks like put on. 84 by 35, did I say? And so the border row that you put on it is these V stitches. It allows you, the pattern talks about how you can end on multiple different rows wherever you want to end on, and then you can do optional borders. It gives you some choices, some suggestions or whatever, and then obviously you can put your own border on it. So not having to really do anything different for the border, just doing the V stitches all the way through. And then when you block it, you can kind of pinpoint those and make them all stand uppy. So I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to get through another row. So I happened to stop on the 4th row of the repeat, but it offers again the 5th row, 6th row, I think the 7th row. No, this is 6th row repeat. The 4th, 5th, and 6th row is where it suggests you and your shawl. And then the final thing is that I purchased this before and had not yet used it. So I used it for this shawl to wash it out and block it. So yeah, hope you enjoy it, Helen. By the time this video posts, you should have this in your hot little hands. So, all right, guys, that's my video for today. I hope everybody's doing well. Have a wonderfully blessed day, and please do come back and see me again. Thank you. Bye-bye.